guys, it's Free Trick Tuesday! Yowza! And today's trick, I'm going to show you and teach you and instruct you and lecture you in the great Out of This World by Paul Curry. Wait a minute, that's not right. Out of This Universe by Russo. Out of This Universe. A couple key factors. The deck is shuffled. The deck is shuffled by the spectator. The story of the Rhines ESP testing goes on in the colleges and the universities. You show how they separate it. But we're going to do it without looking. Please, shuffle these cards again. I'll shuffle them as well. Without looking, here's a red, here's a black. If you feel it's red, lay it there. If you feel it's black, lay it there. Try to keep them even, but if you feel there are two reds, feel free to lay two reds down. So forth. Keep continuing. And about somewhere in the middle, stop just for a second. We're going to move the cards up to make for more room. Is done as not in a patter form per se, but is done as action, so to speak. You don't have to say that. I'm moving my left hand now to the right of the pad. Nothing has to be, the choreography will go with that, but what you should say at that point is that the ESP test, this was before the ESP cards. This is before the doctor came out with the ESP cards. So they used playing cards originally. I don't know if you knew that. But he did use playing cards, but to do the experiment that we just attempting to do. But he found that the red and blacks kind of alter people's minds. Left-handed people tended to put the red in the right area and the black in the left, and so forth. So to test your theory, are you left-handed or right-handed? Okay, to test your theory, let's go ahead and switch the cards and see if that helps you. They're best. Sometimes you can get 25% of these correct, and it's pretty good. In any case, that's what we did, folks. That's what we did, and that's what we're doing. We did a little trick. It's a little tricky. It's a tricky. Oh, I forgot the very end. They separate the cards, red and black. Unbelievable. And you shuffle the cards, and you reset again after just a small shuffle to do the trick at the next table. Yeah, if you want to do that. I don't know why you do that. A lot of people laying cards down while they're trying to eat. All right. Welcome to the Magic Den. It's Free Trick Tuesday, and this is Out of This Universe, is what I coined to phrase it. Hey guys, it's Free Trick Tuesday, and this is my version, my take, if you will, of Paul Curry's Out of This World. This is Out of the Universe. This is out of here, baby. So this is how it goes down, and this is what happens. I don't have to show you, but I will teach you. Please, whatever you do, do not, I repeat, do not pick the Joker. But in any case, long story short, I don't have to show you much of the sleights. There is not much sleights on this, so is that another plus? Oh my gosh, let's see. No prep work, resets. There's a psychological reason to turn the cards over. And there's no slides? Wait a minute, this is confusing. So that might be another plus. But for all good things have to come secret things. Things that people don't know about. Things that might be gimmicked or gaffed. Sorry, kids. It's sad, but it's true. Stripper deck. Obviously. I'm not the first one to obviously think of the stripper deck, per se. But I had a little bit of touch with it. The great thing is no prep work. Wow, no prep work. Now, wait a minute. How could that be? Well, it's all in presentation. And by the time you do one section of this this trick, one section of this trick, you'll pretty much be set to go at any time. And in fact, it doesn't even matter. But the idea here is you're telling a story, okay? And you're going to justify by laying the red cards and the black cards out. Now, obviously, I don't think I'm the first guy that thought of that. I don't know, I could be. But essentially, you show this. It's a very quick process as you're explaining the test itself. This is how you do it. They lay the red. Of course, I'm looking at them. It's more of a structural thing, and I think also too from a key factor, this does help them understand what they should do. Right. Many times the magicians will give instructions out and to lay 2 cards here, lay cards back, or write your name on the front side, not the back side, the front side. Or whatever it is, and there will be confusion of what the procedure is. Then sometimes that drags the show down. So you don't want to have any procedure; you just want to be cut, throat, straight, boom, surefire. So, in any case, so this kind of premises, if you will, or in a movie, foreshadow the effect. So that's it. So that's the first part. So the prepping is done. Of course, you're laying blacks and reds out, and with the stripper deck being slightly tapered. Would that be the word? Okay. I'll cut that out later, maybe. But in any case, being tapered a certain way, you shuffle them, of course, to end for end. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They are all strapped. Yes! The reds are one way, the blacks are one way. Cards are shuffled. I usually then give the deck for the spectator to give a shuffle in doing the classic overhand shuffle. A couple shuffles. Don't trust the spectators, obviously. As you know, do not trust the spectators. They will drop them, and then from that point, you just leave them on the ground, if that happens. But in any case, or you can pick them up later at the end. Oh, yeah, the perfecto. At the very end, you can pick them up and say, by the way, do you want these are red or black? And you just do a little peek or something. So, I don't know. That's just an idea. We'll save those for the end. But in any case, so obviously the cards are red, black, they're shuffled. Now the magician then has to separate the cards, and he does that by the standard stripping fashion, in the disguise of just cutting and talking still. Finishing as a talk, he's cutting the cards, and in time it's not that hard. A couple cuts, and I do a couple real cuts, and then, try to double check for Steve. That you don't need to strip any more away. But basically, you separate the cards red and black right there. Now, at this point, you say, I'm going to lay a red card as a guide card down. You can actually take a glance at the cards. I mean, heck, they shuffled them, you shuffled them. Just because you look at the cards, you're not going to be holding the deck. So you can double check and make sure you're going to 100%. Also, too, it's a great opportunity, and this is a small subtlety that I use, is taking one of the cards, the last, let's say if the black are on top and the red are on bottom, the last black or the first red, and simply by laying a card down in a fashion, I'll lay a red one down here, I'll lay a black one. You know what? I'll lay a red one over here, and by swapping a little confusion of the cards, laying the guide cards down, you can lay a card down and put it back. That's the stop. And of course, in doing that, you're turning that card reversed. So what that does is give you a nice break in the middle. I did forget to tell you that you don't have to count on this one. That's yet another plus. So no counting, no prep work, resets, shuffled deck. Wow. Okay. And psychological changes. And so that's pretty interesting. So anyways, so you lay down the red card. In the process of doing that, you've laid the red card in a certain wrong spot, or maybe you laid 2 red cards down. I tell you what, we'll do black cards. We'll do red and black both. How about that? And in the sense of then picking up the next red card and then turning it over. So you have now a nice, every card is the way it should be, but in the middle, there's a nice visual element. So you can then work on presentation. They lay the cards red and black, red and black, red and black. And what you could do, even if you wanted some more visualization, if the line wasn't perfectly there, if you couldn't see it very well, and I've done this before, is kind of in-jog the card a little bit, offset the cards so the whole stack is on top, and then that way you know when to stop. Let's say if you don't stop right at that card, though, you might have like another card. You'll look at it, it's red, where would you like to put that? If they say the red pile, guess what? There it is. Okay, you're pretty good at this. Let's continue on. That's when you tell the story about the red and blacks and how the ESP card symbols are all black. That makes sense, right? They're all one color. There's not a red wavy lines or a black star, or, a red star or something like that. So they're all black, so it didn't mess with the hemispheres. So we're going to change them around. How are you left-handed or right-handed? Means nothing, but to them it incorporates them a little bit more in the effect, and people are kind of always interested, especially if they're left-handed, in the way they write and meeting other people that are left-handed. I don't know, left-handed anonymous. I'm left-handed. Okay, but in any case, by saying that, then you could say, hey, guess what? Let's switch the piles. Let's put the blacks over there, the reds over there. Boom, they do that. Okay, so that justifies the counting, and it justifies why you switch the piles. A lot of times what I would do is just move the cards up, and that's also a thing. The cards will be filling the mat, filling the table, whatever. You simply move them at that point and break. Usually in the original trick, Paul Curry's, where you count to 26 or whatnot, then I would do that. I would move the cards up. Hey, let's just switch them around so you feel they're black. I would never explain why I was switching them around. And I think the premise, if I could add anything, just the fact that you left-handed might use the right. You obviously use the right side of your brain, and the right-handed uses left. So that kind of gives a justification. It's like a pseudoscience. It makes sense, maybe. But it's enough to switch it. So then, of course, you show the cards at the very end. The cards can be totally messed up at this point. I mean, they can be dropped, thrown around, whatever. What I usually do at the very end is put the cards back, square them up, and give them a few cuts. And in doing that, I will at least cut the cards so they're all the same way. They're obviously all mixed up now. I'll give them a few shuffles, actually. And you'll find it very easy then to put the cards away and then to go ahead. And if you're at another table and you want to do some more magic, and guess what? They want to show them, blow them away with a mind-reading trick they do in their hands from a shuffled deck. Those are the key points that they'll remember. I don't think you can get a better card trick than that. And once again, I should point out it's not really a card trick. It's a test. And that's the key to this trick. If anything, is the presentation of it is, let's do a test on you and let's see how you do. This is what they did. Let's try you and see how you get. You might get 25%. So I think a lot of this trick also is acting, because at the very, very end, when everything's revealed, I think it's important for the magician to be just as surprised about the outcome that is a spectator. Obviously, you're not going to be completely surprised, but it does require some acting, and I think that's a heavy part of this wonderful trick from Pro Curry. Like I said. There's a lot of versions out there, gimmicked versions with gimmicked cards, and I think that's fine, and there might be a place for that, maybe on TV or somewhere like that. But I think in the real world, people are so amazed with this, they have to examine the cards, because that's the only thing it could be. In this case, they can. Once again, the stripper is not. It's pretty. I can't say that it's not. It's not a non-well-known. Yes, it is in dollar stores in a certain fashion. I believe they sell. I know the Sfigalian decks. They've sold those at dollar stores. But in any case, I can't. And I know the Invisible deck sold at not the Invisible deck, but the Mental Photography, the Nudist deck. Those are sold at dollar stores. I've seen those. I've not seen the Stripper deck, but I've seen Marked Cards deck. That's been there. But I'm not for sure about the Tapered deck. I'm pretty sure that it's probably in some magic kits somewhere. But it's still not a well-known, and it's something that, if you're a magician, yeah, you'll see it. But, I think for a lay audience, I think it's perfectly fine. The stripping, if you make the stripping look like cutting, I mean, that's a key factor. The stripping has to look not like you're doing a magic, preferably that you would put the top of the cards facing them as you do it. That way they can't even see their cards coming from different parts. It just looks more like a cut from the bottom to the top or something like that. But I think this is a fantastic version. I think you guys will really enjoy it. I obviously don't have anything to show you. I think if you just have questions, maybe rewind. But just if you can do it in a nutshell, essentially, a stripper deck from a fashion where they're not all mixed up. Lay the reds and the blacks together, so they're all one way. Lay the reds and blacks together as you explain the story, and then okay, this is how you do it face up. Let's have you do it face down. Here, we'll shuffle them again. You'll go ahead and give them a shuffle, and it's still explaining the story of the university. Now they used to use 5 symbols, and you're stripping and cutting, and I'm going to give them a few. It's just looking like you're nervously cutting it. You then hand them the cards. You can fan them out in front of you first and say, we'll use a guide card, we'll use a red and a red. Well, I tell you what, we won't use this red by turning over the card as you put it back in the fan that marks the spot. Say, we'll use a black card. We'll do red and black together, okay? You could even throw that in there, or do some pseudoscience there. But move it to the side, close it up, let them do it. It kind of end jog the card a little bit so you kind of have a reference visually of where that stack ends rather than having to count. You can just kind of still, some people get 5-10% of this right, which is pretty good. I tell you what, we'll stop here. We'll move these cards up. You move the cards up. And then you mentioned all the symbols on ESPs are all black now. They don't have like a red star or red wavy lines. And so we're going to switch them. We'll put the red over here to see if are you left-handed, right-handed. Boom. Switch the piles. That makes sense. You can use either. Okay, then you got the reveal, where you have to be just as surprised as they are. And then from that point, the cards are just all mixed up and, in an unworking order. To reset, all you have to do is make the cards all one way. Now, obviously, they'll be red and black, so you'll have to go through and separate, but you will do that on your presentation next time. So that's my take. It's Out of This Universe by Russo, russomagic.com. Free Trick Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Love ya.